Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving into the SETHTRA files to talk about a quiet tragedy that lives inside so many of us. It doesn't shout. It doesn't break down our doors. It just whispers softly until that whisper becomes who we are. This is the story of the puppet of approval. It all starts with a child. Picture this: a small hand holding a crayon, drawing something purely for love. They hold it up, their face beaming, waiting for praise. And when it comes, they feel warm, safe, seen. In that single innocent moment, they learn something potentially dangerous. Approval feels like love. That belief planted so early becomes a pattern. And eventually that pattern becomes a prison. As the child grows, the approval they once sought from their parents shifts to teachers, then friends, lovers, and eventually even total strangers on the internet. Soon, they can't tell the difference between genuine affection and fleeting validation. They start mistaking applause for self-worth. And just like any addiction, it begins quietly as small habit, a minor compromise, until it consumes everything. Here at SETHTRA Files, we believe every story hides a human truth, and every truth acts as a mirror to the mind. The addiction to validation doesn't arrive with smoke and fire. It creeps in through small compromises. A smile you don't really mean. A yes you didn't want to give. An apology you didn't owe. A compliment you gave not from the heart but from a place of fear. You start bending just a little at first, and then a lot. You begin to reshape yourself to fit the expectations of others. You overwork, you overperform, you overextend. All because somewhere deep inside, you carry the belief that peace can be found in other people's approval. But it can't, it never could. Approval is a sugar rush. It makes you feel alive for a moment, but it ultimately leaves you emptier than before. Every time someone praises you, you feel a flicker of worth. But every time they don't, you feel invisible again. Before you know it, the entire world has become your mirror, reflecting your value back to you only through other people's eyes. There's a simple scientific explanation for this. Dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, fires up every time you're praised, liked, or seen. It's the very same chemical that fuels other addictions. You start chasing it the way a gambler chases a win, the way an addict chases an escape. You find yourself scrolling for likes, performing for approval, and waiting desperately for the silence to end. But the silence doesn't end. It just deepens. And the deeper it gets, the more your sense of worth becomes dependent on the noise around you. This is precisely how validation becomes an addiction. When other people's just reactions start deciding who you are, you no longer live, you react. You no longer express yourself, you perform. You no longer feel, you calculate. And the most twisted part of it all? The world often rewards you for it. It calls you kind. It calls you reliable. It calls you a good person. But inside, you feel like a ghost, living in someone else's skin. Let's be clear, people who chase approval are not weak. They are wounded. They learned early in life that love must be earned, that affection has to be proven, and that being their authentic self is somehow dangerous. They are not broken, they are conditioned. But the good news is conditioning can be unlearned. Healing begins with discomfort. It starts with the courage to stop performing. It means saying no even when your voice shakes. It means allowing yourself to rest when the guilt is screaming at you to do more. It means you stop explaining, stop defending, and stop decorating your truth to make it more palatable for others. At first, you will feel fear. That silence you've been running from will feel like a punishment. But if you can manage to sit in that silence long enough, you'll find that it begins to change. It slowly transforms into peace. And then, something truly miraculous happens. You start to hear your own voice again. It's much quieter than the applause you were chasing, but it's real, and that's how freedom starts. Not with a loud rebellion, but with a quiet act of remembering who you are. True freedom doesn't always look like loud confidence. More often, it looks like calm. It isn't glamorous or dramatic. It's the simple peace of walking away from a conversation without needing to be understood. It's the comfort of not feeling the urge to defend your choices. It's the inner strength of knowing that being disliked doesn't automatically mean you're wrong. Freedom is found in the moment you stop asking, "Do they still love me?" and you start asking, "Do I still love myself when I'm completely alone?" The answer to that second question determines the entire course of your life. Because once you accept that love is not earned through obedience, but is revealed through honesty, you stop begging for permission to exist. You finally begin to understand that peace and approval will never live in the same house. You will lose people when you stop pleasing them, and you have to let them go. Their absence will teach you what real presence feels like. You will disappoint expectations, and that's actually a form of healing. You will outgrow old versions of yourself, and that is a form of grace. The world might call you selfish, or cold, or distant, but you will know the truth. You are finally free. When you are no longer a puppet, you become the artist of your own life. When you stop chasing approval, you start chasing purpose. And purpose doesn't need an audience, it doesn't need applause. It only needs you to be aligned with it. This is SETHTRA Files, where we don't chase popularity, we chase understanding. If these words reach something inside of you today, consider subscribing. Not to follow us, but to awaken something within yourself. Because the day you stop performing for love is the day you realize you've been loved all along. You just forgot to notice. Thank you for watching.